Good morning. Happy New Year, everybody. It's 1st of January 2026. My name is Joe Bandel. I'm the last Rosicrucian. Today, it's great. I'm going to be talking a little bit about uh, what I believe the coming year holds. And it's pretty exciting because to me, the message that I'm getting is this is the time you jump off the cliff. This is the time you take the chance. This is don't think small, don't act small. Think big, act big, that kind of thing. And I'm not sure how much I'm going to be talking about because I'm ad-libbing going through this. I don't have notes. I don't have a presentation set up that I'm going to be doing, but mainly I'm going to be talking about how important that this past month, if you will, the past year, that this has been, and what it means for me. And through what it means for me, what it means for you. So I am going to share about the topic, the story, the title of this episode, if you will, this chapter, or this whatever, this video podcast, the Anarchist Nights, or the Order of Anarchist Nights. Now, I have shared a lot of my personal material online, most of it in writing, but I've done some videos, and this is going to be the first of a series of videos that I'm going to try offering once a week. So I'm on the one hand going to be clearing my table, clearing the projects out, so that my energies are not so scattered, but they're going to be focused through this podcast, if you will. The Order of Anarchist Nights is something that came out in my imagination over 30 years ago. And it's been like a dream. It's been like I envisioned the Order of Anarchist Nights to be like a mystery school. And it prompted me to write all the material that I have put out that is under the category of oak, and also organic Gnosticism. But the beginning of the story would be back in 1991 when I crossed the Great Abyss for the first time and permanently crossed the Great Abyss and contacted with Source. So that was major. That was one of the major and most important initiations, if you will, of my personal spiritual life. And after that, I was so far out into space, if you will, and the next thing was coming back, being able to come back and reconnect to the ground, to the earth, which I've done. And this past year has been kind of like putting the final pieces in a puzzle. This is like a graduation year for me. It's also a graduation year for what I call Oak, and a graduation year for the Order of Anarchist Knights. When I say Order of Anarchist Knights, I'm thinking of anarchist in terms of sovereignty, sovereignness, being authentic, no external authorities, internal authority only. The Christ spirit of the heart, the higher self, that speaks through the Christ spirit, that speaks through the heart. That's the authority. So it's a mystical connotation. It's not a violent connotation. And the amount of material that I have accumulated is fused together to form a paradigm and a matrix. And this matrix is based upon the concept of duality as a loving embrace, not duality as a conflict. So, duality as a loving embrace, think of the yin-yang symbol. And I've shared on my path, the last 30 years, I've shared a lot of my path and where I'm at. I've shared a lot of the meditation techniques and things that I have done as I was doing them. And what happens is, as you complete and gain mastery over a certain technique, you move on to the next technique, to the next meditation or whatever. So there's always a growth, a progression. And if there isn't, I'm willing to say you're doing something wrong, because life is meant to be an adventure. It's meant to be a growing of the soul. And what's evolved, a lot of the oak material, what I call the oak material, I've purified and I've simplified and I've tried to polish it over the years to the final output that I have now, that could still be polished even further, but it's kind of like you got to start someplace, and I need to produce. I need to put in book form what I've already posted online, which is actually 2 volumes of the Oak Matrix Unleashed, the Oak Magus, and Oak Temple of One. All of those, that's four books worth of really significant material that I have posted online, and that you can look up. But it's definitely a foundation for what I've learned, and it's a sharing of what I've learned, the most valuable things that I've learned for self-empowerment through an entire life of studying and being on a spiritual path. Okay. There's no really easy way to say this, but what has evolved and what I've just in the past few weeks or months, what I've discovered about oak is that it's essentially a mystery school for the root chakra. It includes all the chakras going up to source, but it's essentially seventh ray root chakra system. That is where it functions at. And as a mystery school that is grounded firmly and anchored in the root chakra, it makes it a lot different than, for example, the Rosicrucians, which are heart-centered, or like Christianity, which is like third eye-centered. And if you think about it, every 2,000 years, first there's a great cycle. And a great cycle happens every, 24,000 years, is what they're saying. I think it's 24,000, 26,000. And that's a total reset. And that's what we're going through right now. And this reset, the new reset, the old cycle, always ends up at the highest level, which, like Christianity, third eye level, is, and the unity, the crown chakra area, is really the high energies. But the beginning of a great cycle always starts out at the earth level, at nature's, at the shaman level, at the vital life force level, which is where oak is. And in the last few, I'll say the last month, what's happened is unbeknownst to me, I'm kind of like stumbling along and following my own inner directives. And what I've found happening to me is I've been trying to find the one frequency that defines my soul, that is my signature, that one frequency that really carries through everything that I am. And that one frequency exists at the root chakra level, at the womb of creation level, at the Organocin level, which is the last possible element 118. And it is basically the root chakra, or Organocin 118, it holds inside itself all the other elements. So it holds within its completeness everything. And some of the oak material will get into the scientific background and basis for why I say that and why I claim that. But what I'm really getting at is that this movement, this pressure or directive for me to focus everything into one frequency is what is causing me to come out with what I'm talking about now, about the Order of Anarchist Knights, because it's telling me you're ready. And I'm going to share a dream. I'm going to share a dream that I had a week and a half ago. It was a very vivid dream. And it was about ascension. It was about Gaia's ascension. But it was also, I was in it. And there was a airplane in a hangar. It was a big plane, whatever. But right next to it and attached to it was an equal mass of wheels, cog wheels, like in a watch. If you've ever seen the inside of a watch and you see all these little wheels and stuff turning, different sizes. And that structure was standing and it was attached to that plane somehow. And in the dream, what I did was I kind of pushed it toward the plane, pushed all those wheels, those cogs towards the plane, towards a wing of the plane and into the plane. And they kind of like did the opposite of telescoped out. They telescoped inward. They slid into the plane itself perfectly. And then I was down at the bottom of the plane, and there was a closure point. It's kind of like a puzzle, and this is the last piece of the puzzle that you put together. And it was closed there, and I had a pin. I could even look at it as like a little metal pin. It's a little tapered on one end, and it has a kind of a head on the other end. And it to go in and like a rivet, or to hold the entire thing in place. And I tried to hold the pin there and had a hammer, and I tried to hit it, and it wasn't quite lined up, so it didn't work that way. But then I did something else. I moved around a little bit or whatever it was, and I went and I held that pin and I put it in up to the hole there, and it slid right in. It just slid in perfectly, with no hitting it, no pounding it, no nothing. And that was it was the most powerful vision that I have had of completing a project, completing a circuit, completing a system, a machine, a matrix, whatever you will, that's plugged in. But I put it in, it went in, and then I pulled it back out, and I was looking at it and just seeing it. But I had done it. I had completed, squared the circle, if that's what you want, if that's what you would call it. And that really echoes what I'm talking about today also, because what it's saying, what it's telling me is I did it. Energetically, there was a closure there for this incredibly complex ascension vehicle, if you will, this vehicle of consciousness. And since I had that dream, and I've been meditating, I've been preparing for the first day of the year. I was preparing for the solstice, all of that stuff. This has been a crazy week. But it was really like, okay, now is the time. And so what I'm announcing, if you will, is I am officially, or whatever, however you want to say it, I am the material that I am offering for those interested. This is the Order of Anarchist Night. The Order of Anarchist Night's material. Oak, organic Gnosticism. It is representative of a soul group. It's representative of a philosophical framework that is fundamentally anchored at the root chakra level. So it's a mystery school. I'm officially saying, okay, I'm going to teach what I know. It's going to be a mystery school. It's called the Order of Anarchist Knights, or Oak, or Organic Gnosticism. It's based on the concept of duality as a loving embrace rather than duality as conflict of opposites. It's scientific in nature, but it's also very spiritual. It's occult in nature, metaphysical. And it is appropriate for today's age. You can have other people out there doing what they're doing or whatever, but I have reached a point where it's time for me to put my shingle out there and say, okay, I'm a teacher. I'm a master at the root chakra level. There's not a lot of mystery schools out there that function at the root chakra level. If you're interested in developing the root chakra level and interested in the mystery school teachings, this is a place where you can go. It's not going to be what a lot of people think it is, but that's fine. You are either attracted to what I have to share, or you are repelled from what I have to share. There's no middle ground. But you're welcome to sample things like that. Like I've said, I've posted pretty much everything that I have to say online already, and I have to get the books out so people can also purchase books if they want the books. So there's not really anything surprising that I can do, but what I can assist with is the nuts and bolts knowledge of walking the path, embodying the energies or the experiences, because teaching something on the etheric level, which is the root chakra level, requires embodiment. It's the opposite of headship. It needs to be deep, deep, deep. And a good part of that being deep, deep, deep means to be clearing the shadow stuff, getting rid of all the toxic, repressed, poisonous, emotional baggage or mental things that happen. Now, I recently thought I was going to teach some meditations, a series of meditations for people to follow that were supporting me as patrons. But then I realized that Gaia has ascended. As of today, we got the split there, the energetic split. It's not like it's happening, it's like it's already happened. And what's happening is a lot of us, we're experiencing our future selves are grabbing onto us and pulling us ahead. They're pulling us where we need to be. That's part of what's happening to me, part of why I'm bringing this up here and saying, hey, I'm openly saying, hey, I'm a teacher. I'm doing this. I'm for whoever's willing to learn from me. I am willing to answer their questions and help them work through whatever it is. So the other part of this, and it ties in with what happens, is back in 1991, when I first crossed the Great Abyss, was actually when the oak matrix, or the oak egregore, had its first beginnings. And for over 30 years now, 34 if I'm counting right, but each year has brought an evolution of the oak matrix itself. It's brought an evolution of the energy pattern, well, like I said, the matrix, the system of how it works, what happens. And that dream that I had with that airplane and putting the pin in place, what it's saying is, we're functional. This is online. 2025 was the last year of pushing out the crap, pushing the crap out. The oak matrix is a system of knowledge. It's a system of conceptual knowledge, and it controls how things manifest physically, how they go from thought down through all the stages to where they actually manifest physically. And it essentially, if I came out and I said it's a quantum leap of the old Kabbalah, that would maybe say where I'm coming from with it. It makes the old Kabbalah obsolete. Anybody that's really invested in the old Kabbalah, you're going to find that it's obsolete. The oak matrix itself, which includes science, it includes the periodic table of elements. The old way is obsolete. Things are not working energetically the old way. And they're happening in a new way. They're happening according to the wiring, if you will, that's taking place, that the oak matrix represents. And because it's essentially science-based, based on both chaos theory and the reciprocal systems theory of Dewey Larson, essentially, with some other additions to it. Anyone who believes in science is inadvertently supporting it. So which brings up an interesting point. It brings up, well, the collective, the power of the collective. The power of the collective lies in two separate directions. If you have 1 million people and they believe a certain thing, that's extremely powerful. And that is going to manifest. It's going to find a way to manifest. However, if you have individuals who have created a belief system, a structure, a paradigm that is that big. That's also part of the collective. And it contains, it's possible that it contains that smaller section that so many people believe in. However, because it's bigger and able to contain what everybody else is believing, there's not a conflict with it. And it belongs legitimately as part of a collective. Dewey Larson's reciprocal systems theory is one of those things. Chaos theory is one of those things. It fits. It's a bigger picture than what the average people have. And oak, the same way. It takes and draws from a lot of these larger systems that individuals have come up with. And it creates a large, comprehensive, and integrated, deeply integrated system of knowledge, system of concepts. Now this is getting a little longer, so I'm going to wrap it up real quick. What's happening, because Gaia has shifted, she is in literally a new frequency, and the new energetic systems are coming online, really, really online for the first time this year. There's a lot of stuff going to be happening. There's a lot of stress that's going to be as people struggling because what used to work doesn't work anymore. But then a lot of people who have been doing the inner work, they're going to find a lot of relief because things are going to manifest in support of them. So what I'm saying is this year is going to be very stressful for a lot of people. And what's important, probably the most important thing for people, is going to be survival. How to have their world doesn't need to fall apart if they have concepts that hold it together. And while I'm trying to get the material out there in book form that I've already posted, what I'm saying, look up. It would be very helpful for self-empowerment, for people that are struggling, to go through the material that's listed under the Oak Matrix, the Oak Matrix Unleashed. There's actually 600 pages worth of material there, and it's all pretty much common sense material. It's empowerment material, and it's not political. A lot of it is not really, well, it's kind of based on a spiritual framework. It's not overly, in other words, the average person, it should not really repel the average person. They should kind of resonate with it, because it's my attempt to be very straightforward and very simple, very self-evident with the material. But it also brings up some very interesting questions that are sharply in conflict with things that the mass media, the collective, really has bought into and been brainwashed by. So a lot of it, what I'm saying, exposure to the Oak Matrix Unleashed will help you hold your shit together when things get too bad. While I'm able to process and add more material as I go along and kind of uh, keep adding some timely updates for what's going on. Like this, for example, is an update of what's happening, and which I'm planning to do these kind of updates once a week. And this one is really talking about uh, the importance of developing the concepts that will hold your psyche together, that will hold your ego structure together so that the stress doesn't cause a breakdown. That's essentially what I'm getting at. And it's the oak material is based upon a lifetime of studying from various mystery school traditions, plus personal insight and personal experience. So anyway, that's my message, my New Year's message, and it's welcome to the Order of Anarchist Knights. Till next week, thank you. Bye.